Hello and welcome back to IllumiNation, the Disney Lorcana podcast. My name is Max.
And I'm Sam.
And we are at episode 68 of the podcast. If you haven't been here, welcome on in. If you have been here, welcome on back. We appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to do an episode that's a little different than usual. Once in a while, we'll talk about something maybe a little off topic for Core Constructed. We did a little bit of Infinity talk previously, and now we're talking coconuts. So we wanted to go over this new format that's kind of being beta tested out by Ravensburger, and we wanted to talk about the format in and of itself, ways to think about the format that maybe you haven't considered yet because this format's wholly new to Disney Lorcana, and I think that this format requires a little bit of reprogramming from the standard core constructed or tournament style constructed format. So, Sam, tell us a little bit about the format that is Coconut.
So Coconut has 3 in each color has a coconut card that does like a special ability. And whatever character card that your coconut is related to, you can have 4 copies of in your deck. It's a 60 card deck, and everything except for your coconut card is only 1 copy of each card.
Yes, a multiplayer format. You have your coconut card. The coconut card's unique because it gives you an ability through the life of the game, and it also opens up the ability for you to play more than 1 copy of the specific coconut card. So, for example, you could use Nick Wilde as your coconut, and he opens up the ability to play for Nick Wilde. So, it's a pretty neat little thing. Subsequently, the Nick Wilde also opens up the ability for you to play for Popsicle, so that's kind of very unique even amongst the format. You can use any cards. There's no ban list. It's an Infinity-style rules format, just with no ban list. So Hiram is totally legal, and I think totally reasonable at 1 copy when you have 3 other players who are able to deal with Hiram. 3 inks total. Your coconut has to be one of them. The other 2 are your dealer's choice. And like Sam said, otherwise singleton. So yeah, that is kind of Coconut in a nutshell, in a coconut shell.
It's also first to 25 instead of 20.
25. I have that written down, and I just skipped over it. 25 lore. So that is kind of the broad overview of the game. So I'm interested in this coming at it from more of talking about the concepts of it and what it's like to have a casual format. So I kind of want to talk over thoughts and expectations, and everybody's going to come at this from a little bit of a different place. So Sam, you and I are coming at this as players who generally will play this game to try to win tournaments.
Yes.
Where I think this format will be fun for you and I to play, but I also think it'll be fun for the people who like to build like movie franchise decks for Lorcana. I think they also have a home here as well.
Yes, I agree.
So I want to make sure that everybody understands kind of the thinking or the thought process, or at least I can offer the way I think about it and the way you think about it to the people out there, because I want to make sure that the people who are playing the movie franchise deck understand that it'll be fun to play with all the movie franchise cards, just like it was probably the first few times you went to locals with your movie franchise deck. But no matter how much fun you're having playing those cards, it's still not fun to lose every game. So you want to be able to give yourself a chance to win games as well. On the opposite side of the coin, I want to make sure the tournament grinders realize this is a casual format. You're not here to grind out wins to try to top a tournament. You're just playing for fun. Not every game needs to be won in order to have a good time. If that's how you feel, you should definitely stick to the 1v1 tournament style competitive formats.
Yes, I agree.
So let's talk about the idea of going into Coconut. So Sam, you and I were both hesitant with Coconut.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of like thinking about other formats to play, but we've tested this out a little bit, and so far I've been pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, we played, so going all the way back to early Lorcana, this was the release of set, 3 3
It was
or
the first
4.
PAX, wasn't it?
It was the first PAX where Lorcana, where Ravensburger made an appearance after Gen Con. So I want to say
it might have been.
Floodborne.
I think it was Floodborne.
So Floodborne was coming out. This is PAX, which is a board game convention, PAX Unplugged, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And they were offering up multiplayer events. And we were excited to jump in there. We had never played multiplayer, so we just brought like a core constructed deck. And I think I had Amber Amethyst like hyper aggro. So I was like, yeah, if they knock me out quickly, I'll get knocked out quickly. It's not a big deal. And the concept was kind of somebody won, you stayed on, and they put 3 more people down, and you could play as long as you wanted to play. And I ended up spending 4 hours playing just because people weren't coming after me for whatever reason. They were all trying to be polite and friendly, I guess, maybe. Or I was just a little too low to the ground, and they were playing a little bit more fair mid-range for longer games. But I ended up sitting there for like 4 hours, and at the end, it was like you got a pack or 2 for playing, and I was just like, holy cow, I wasted 4 hours at a convention playing multiplayer Lorcana, which was cool for meeting people. I think I got to meet like 9 other players through the run.
I do remember you did not have a ton of fun, though.
No, it was kind of exhausting. Turns took a very long time, but the game was still new. And also, getting to 20 lore sometimes can be a grind when you're playing against one other player. When you have 2 additional opponents who are also trying to vie for the game back and forth, it gets to be very difficult. Decision making becomes difficult. There's the addition of politicking around the board and encouraging and cheerleading and defending and all these kind of like little micro back and forth interactions you have during the course of a game. I did not enjoy the multiplayer experience. I also think they were a little too focused on like little rewards, like have the biggest character. If you have a character with more than like 10 strength, you get a prize.
I do think that was something they were bigger on in the beginning of the game in general, though, because it was something that they put in locals too. I remember that was a thing.
They focused on kind of just this concept of a nebulous idea of like just a battle, like a chaos battle, one person walks away the winner. There wasn't like any more structure to it than that. Get to 20 lore, however, there's 3 player or 4 players at the table instead of 2.
Yeah.
So it wasn't great. I didn't enjoy it. I had a lot of reservations going into Coconut.
You walked away from that and said to me, I don't want to ever play multiplayer Lorcana again.
I never have played multiplayer Lorcana again until Coconut.
We did play like a 2v2 thing.
Yes, we did at DLC Richmond.
Yes, which
that
was
awesome.
A lot of fun.
That was another. I really hope that format doesn't die.
I do think that was a little more competitive, like we're used to, though.
Yes, it was a team of 2 versus a team of 2, and we took simultaneous turns, and you could do like, I could challenge whoever I wanted to, and things of that nature, which was really cool. And the effects that was for each opponent hit both of my opponents, which was really fun. And I was playing blue steel and you were playing red purple.
That sounds right.
And it was just, we had a blast of a time. It was really cool being able to put in like Tinkerbells and things like that and deal 1 damage across 2 different players' boards. And it was a neat little like setup kind of a thing that I could do. So it was fun to play that format. And then now here in Coconut, we've tested a little bit, playing with other people in the team, just kind of locally trying it out to see what's the deal, because that's what Ravensburger wants, right? They want you to play it, they want you to test it, they want you to give them feedback.
Yeah.
So I was impressed.
We played for a few hours the other night, and it was so much fun. It was a lot of laughs. We kept switching around the pods of people we were playing in. But yeah, I think with 3 or 4 people felt equally as fun.
Yes.
We have tried it just you and I, just to test the decks to see if they function. That is not very fun.
No, it just kind of feels like core constructed with worse decks and like kind of lower probability of drawing important cards. So just when you top deck something crazy, it just feels a little worse.
Yeah.
So I would say that this is ideal with 3 to 4 players. It doesn't take, I think, and this is a great little segue into, I think you really need to define success in the game. And I'm using the word success specifically because I don't want to say you need to win, right? Because that's not necessarily a success. The success walking away from Coconut for you and I feel like was the really heavy laughter, the crazy shenanigans that ensued during a game. the like excitement level of somebody doing something absolutely preposterous.
Yeah. The top decking a one of card in the deck that just like absurd.
Yes, it was. We had a ton of fun. We had a ton of laughs, and I think it was a really good time. I got to use. I had a Prince John out, and I got to use Bend to My Will, and had 3 people discard their hand, and I had like 20-something cards in my hand, and I got to use Jafar, Striking Illusionist, to start drawing cards and gaining lore really fast with my hand, and I got down to like 2 cards in deck, but I still managed to win.
Yeah.
It was really a fun battle and a cool grind, and we all had a ton of fun, and we were all laughing at each other. It was just really, really neat.
Yeah, I think seeing some of these cards that we've never seen before in Core Constructed be really good in these multiplayer formats is pretty cool too. Like, just one that comes to mind is Ink Amplifier. Nobody's playing that.
Right.
But in multiplayer where everybody's trying to draw cards, like, you're really getting to ramp like every single turn, and I think it just showcases that some cards are really good in this format.
Absolutely. Like something along the lines of Malicious Me and Scary Prince Philip being able to wipe 3 players' boards is a significant power level boost when you wouldn't normally have something like that. There's the Lion King steel card that deals 4 damage to each player, picks a character, and they have that character take 4 damage.
I just looked up the card's name and I don't remember it already.
It was like a card from like set 7 or 8. That
Scar holding a rat.
Yeah, like nobody played this card because I think it like may have been like a 1 or a 2 of in like one steel build around that time, but really largely it was ignorable. But because it's each player and you could potentially just take out 3 characters for 1 card, the level of value you get is insane.
Yeah, even something like Sudden Chill, which we've seen played a lot in the past, it's even better in this format because everybody discards a card.
Right, and if you have something like Prince John out, it starts to do real work.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. But you can only have 1 Prince John, luckily. So I want to make sure you're defining success. So make sure that you're going into the game with the expectation of, are you trying to win? Are you trying to pull off a combo? Are you just trying to play a bunch of things that are all related in some way? I really want to play my heroes theme deck or my ally theme deck. I want to play just this hodgepodge of cards I threw together because there's a bunch of stuff in here I like, and I just have, it's largely untested, and I just want to see how it goes. Is it that you want to play really heavy to the coconut card's ability? Like there's a Donald Duck, Fred Honeywell card that makes all your boosts cost less. It's a really strong choice if you're playing something like Emerald, Amber, and Ruby, and you just want to boost and boost and boost and boost.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. You could do your movie theme deck. Is that your goal, is to bring the movie theme deck between 3 inks and some of the more popular Disney films, at least to Lorcana, some of the more populous cards? You could definitely build a movie theme deck across 3 inks.
I mean, Ariel is based on just princesses. So if you wanted to have just princesses in your deck,
right,
princesses and songs, like,
build around that coconut card.
So
I want my princesses to sing songs because that's what Disney movies are all about, if nothing else. So I really want to make sure to highlight the idea of success. The way I have played in multiplayer casual formats before, I have way too many years experience playing what was formerly known as EDH, Elder Dragon Highlander and Magic, which has evolved and become more commonly known as Commander. So I've been playing that format since it was really popularized by Sheldon Menery in God knows when, the early 2000s. And I have always kind of lived and died by a rule that him and his play group used, which is the 66% rule, because it's not fun to lose game after game after game, no matter how ridiculous what you're trying to do is and how like close to pulling it off you can get. It's still just not fun to lose game after game after game after game. So the expectation with the 66% rule is that you should put yourself in a position to be the winner of the game 2 out of every 3 games you play. 66% of the time, you're in the race to win the game. The one other time, the deck may fail to function. You may get off to a really strong early start, and it causes people to just come after you, and you get knocked out very quickly. There's any number of reasons why you could not be in the game, right? You could just... I drew all uninkables, and I drew another uninkable, and I fell so far behind that I was never able to catch up in the game. Yeah. By the time I started putting stuff down, everybody else was ahead of me, and so one player B-prepped, and I was never able to get back in the game. It will happen. Absolutely. But just make sure that your expectation is reasonable, right? Like you want to make sure that the idea of what you're doing is something that you can execute on. When there's 4 players in a game, you're just not going to be hard-pressed to win every game. And if you are winning every game, the other 3 players are going to start ganging up on you anyway. Okay. So then you're not going to have any fun because you're going to go, as soon as I sit down with these people, they all just gang up on me anyway. So,
yeah. And that was, I mean, you talking about Commander, that's kind of the thing I didn't like about Commander was the politicking. And so it's the one thing I'm cautious about in this game because, I mean, we saw it happening a little bit in our test games with our team, but it was all in good fun. But I don't know where it's going to go from here.
Right. Politicking is the concept of discussing openly the strategies in the game. Normally, you would not do that in a 1v1 format, right? You're thinking about those things to you, but there's no other player to bounce it off of. In the team format we played, we could kind of share strategies with each other and like be like, well, you should do that. In what order should we do this? Okay, then do that.
I do feel like in this game it's a little different because we're questing up into 25 and not trying to take somebody's life away.
It's really hard to eliminate someone unless they get very greedy and draw like a lot of cards or something, and then you mill them out.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same, like, let's go after them, but you could definitely take care of somebody's characters over another person's, things like that.
Absolutely. Or just one of the cards you play could just be super useful or super oppressive for one other player in particular. Which still happens sometimes. So talking about it, we're going to talk about ways for you to achieve your successes and things that I think, and Sam thinks, with a lot we discussed when we were building coconut decks, like theory crafting and things. I want you to consider things a little differently, right? You need to reevaluate kind of how you think of cards, because it's when you quest, you're giving up a lot of board equity, right? Because one of 3 other players could deal with your card. And challenging is so much worse in a multiplayer because not only are you not getting lore, which is your win condition, you are actively putting your character in jeopardy of being removed because it becomes exerted and getting almost no benefit other than to stop somebody else. So you're just really not getting a lot out of it. So challenging and questing, you're probably going to see a slight decline in how much that's happening. Like I can tell you there was the game that I was talking about that I won. I think I had the opportunity to quest for like 3 lore early in the game. I was like, oops, I forgot to quest. Because it just doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. For the most part, it's like that little bit of lore gain really is going to be so insignificant with 25 lore required and how little it matters. You should be trying to achieve a win through larger, more sweeping effects.
So a good example would be like I'm playing a coconut deck with Nick Wilde, which you mentioned earlier. His other effect that he has is that you can sacrifice or banish 4 items to gain 4 lore once per turn. So I'm questing a little bit here and there, but I'm playing these items that are either gaining me lore, like Lucky Dime, or I'm just sacrificing popsicles to Nick Wilde and then getting them back and looping it and getting my lore that way.
Yeah, you can draw cards and get value off your items and then subsequently banish them to gain lore off of them. So they're giving you value coming in and value going out. And that's really the key to these formats is value. What you're giving up is important. If you're trading 1 card for 1 card, in core constructed, that can be okay. So if I'm playing a deck that draws a lot of cards, trading 1 resource for 1 resource is much more beneficial for me because I'm ahead on cards. In a multiplayer format like this, I am no 1-for-1 trading, even if I'm gaining card advantage, is significantly worse because 2 other players are getting a benefit by having to not do anything, but the board remains stable. So you being the one to have to act and expend resources to deal with something is a cost. It's an inherent cost to the format. So you need to think about specifically, almost instead of how do I win, what am I building to? Like, what am I doing? Like, in an ideal world, if you could put all the cards you needed to on the board to do the cool thing you want to do or do the really impressive part of the deck, what is that going to be? Is it like flooding the board so you're playing like Pride Lands and Stitch combo to like play this draw card, play this draw card, play this draw card, play this draw card, play this draw card. Yeah. And you can just flood the board like a crazy person, play a Pete and pass. And you go, cool, I'm questing for 20 on the next or 25 on the next turn immediately. That's a big bombastic thing that you can do that's very hard for an opponent to answer. Yeah. Are you trying to combo off? Are you trying to do something like Maui Shark challenge down the board and gain a lure through fan the flames over and over and over again for a win? Are you trying to mill out your opponents? Are you trying to get them to draw through their whole deck via something like recurring a whole new world?
That's been pretty popular amongst our group.
It's a very straightforward kind of, it's something that's very hard to achieve in the game when you're playing 1v1, but it is a really cool way to win now that you can. You have the blessing of time, and you need to take everyone out. So just repeating whole new worlds and Lady Tremaines and Do It Agains is a valid strategy to mill everybody out. You can rely on your coconut card, a la the Nick Wilde ability, to help you get over the hump. You can also use small incremental lure gain over time, so something like an item like Spellbook or Source of the Vine, which is a new one that slowly gains incremental amounts of lure as the game goes on. You mentioned Lucky Dime. Things like that can really help you gain the lure. Little characters that can, when they come in, gain a lure. When you play a character like Phil, when you play a hero, gain a lure. That's a really good style of building over time if you want to do it that way. But you need a way to do it that's a little bit harder for your opponents to want to interact with or be able to interact with. So think about it in terms of what is your output and what are you getting back in return for that? And if the answer is simply an opponent doesn't win the game, you got to really ask yourself if the game is in a position to be lost as a result of that before you expend the resource, because that is a huge, you're giving up so much ground. I know it sounds crazy to say, like, don't, along came Zeus, the character, but you don't want to be the person to do that. You want to be the last person to play your Along Came Zeus, because that is going to be the time that it's needed the most. You want somebody else to play their Zeus. The best Zeus is the one my opponent's playing on the other guy's thing.
You mentioned Zeus, and I was just thinking about like cards that are really good in Core Constructed that aren't very good in this. Like,
yeah,
Zeus is, we both took that out of our deck because it's just like you get one thing and it doesn't really matter. Another example is Ursula Deceiver. She can look at one person's hand. If you choose the wrong person, I had somebody the other night play one. I had several songs in my hand. They played it on a different opponent and they had 0. It was, so like some cards are just flat out bad,
right,
in multiplayer format.
Right, like I'm playing the Ursula Deceiver because I'm playing Ursula Deceiver of all as my coconut, so there's an advantage.
You get something out of it.
I'm getting a return on it because now my 2-drop Ursula can sing a 4-drop song. So like my 2-drop Ursula, me playing like a 3-drop that's multicolored, and then her singing Colors of the Wind, for example, can be extremely powerful. Or Colors of the Wind. I don't have to play a multiplayer card. I can just reveal all these cards from the top and hopefully see as much as all of the different ink types from multicolored cards on top of people's decks. So you have to absolutely ask yourself, if this card's going in the deck, what can it do? So something like Let the Storm Rage On gives you a card back. It replaces itself. That becomes critical in a format like this because you can't play a lot of card draw. You can play one copy of Friends on the other side. You can play one copy of Colors of the Wind. You can play one copy of Second Star to the Right. Like, these are things you're just not allowed to do in multiples. So it's really, really important that you think about the card draw, you think about the resources you have, and you do your best to make sure whatever you're doing, you get a return on those particular plays.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add about Coconut as the dog attempts to climb up here into the podcasting arena?
I think just like questions for the future. Like, I'm kind of hopeful we'll see more Coconut cards.
Oh, I definitely think there will be more Coconut cards. There's no doubt. As they print more cards, it's so the concept of the biggest thing about the Coconut cards, I would say, is how do they get the Coconut cards into the player's hands?
Right. There's that. There's, will this be still called Coconut?
Right.
Because I think we've kind of all lovingly adopted the name.
Right. It's a funny name because they're in fact considering the Coconut, which makes the episode title for this one very easy.
Yes.
But I think that it's a good, very thematic kind of, you have fun. It's a fun name. We all chuckle at it. So it fits, but there might be a more marketable name they come up with. But how are they going to get those cards to us is an interesting question. Is it going to replace puzzle cards? Is that the way they get them to us? Is it
Right.
through the league where they're trying to really push people to go play in the leagues?
Will it be like Commander and Magic where you can kind of just choose any legendary card or to be your commander?
Yeah, you would need a 5th copy, I guess,
Right,
to sit out there on the board because the coconut sits out there.
Right.
So it'd be the way I heard it posited the best that I think would be the coolest thing for them to do was from one of our fellow teammates, shout out to Matt. He suggested the idea of if they released them a normal version as a puzzle card replacement in a pack and you could get them to play Coconut with, but at League they had enchanted ones.
Yes, that would be really cool.
That would be so sick if they had like special bordered treated ones that you could get from going to play at League. Come on, that is a slam dunk. Give me pins back too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I don't think we talked about either is the concept of it with it being a singleton format. This will be a good way for people to bling out their decks to have that enchanted
Somebody
one-ofs.
may have already started ordering enchanteds that he doesn't need.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a really fun expression, and with the prices of everything in the secondary market going up, it actually does make it so when you open an enchant, it's like, oh my god, yes, this is in my coconut deck. So then you
Right.
don't have to worry about, and it just makes more sense, right? Like getting one very expensive enchanted is right now, unless you just want to display it somewhere, doesn't really have a lot of value in terms of like what are you doing with it.
Yeah, we've really stopped since the prices have gone up. We don't really, I mean, we were never like a fully enchant out our decks, but we definitely did a little bit, and we've kind of stepped away from that with the price increase. But with Coconut, where you only need one, I mean, it's pretty doable.
Yeah, it makes it a lot cooler to be like, cool, I can take it out of the collection, carefully put it in. I mean, we double sleeve anyway, so it's like I'll carefully put this in my deck and I'll play with it. If I knock the value down from near mint to lightly played and I still get 80% of the value for it, I'm cool with that because that little bit of a loss was all the fun I got to have playing with the card, which means a lot.
Yeah, I think we'll start to see people having their like pet decks, and I think it's really cool.
I agree. I think that my opinion of Coconut was very, very low when I first heard about the format, and I was like, multiplayer Lorcana is not fun. I'm 100% out for this.
Yeah, and this was kind of just our team being like, are we playing Coconut? And we're like, I guess.
Yeah, so shout out for real to the team who were like, we definitely had some team, and like anytime our team, and I push this all to everybody to do with your local communities as well. If there's something someone's interested in, I highly recommend you give it a shot. 'Cause very worst case, you were right. Like the floor on this is so high, and the ceiling is even higher. So it's just all winners here. If it's not great, you're like, yeah, it's not great. I got to say I was right and moved on. If it's fantastic and you're enjoying it, you get to hang out with people. I'm hoping this generates more interest in locals and gets more people sleeving up cards and wanting to play because it's a neat, unique way to play. If I have just a collection of one-ofs because I'm new, awesome. That's great. That's what this format is, a collection of one-ofs.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Hopefully we can see like a casual night where people want to play this.
Yeah,
and just kind of increase visibility to the game.
Yeah, I am pumped to play Coconut. I'm pumped to have a couple of different decks. My deck that I'll play with the team and like players who are, I know I see them across the table from me locally in our larger tournament scene, and I'll have my Coconut deck for the people who don't really understand what they're supposed to be doing. Like I can ink once a turn, right, and I leave it up in my inkwell. Then I'll have a Coconut deck ready to play against someone like that too. So that everybody can enjoy it. And again, my expectation is that I'm at least in the game and actively a part of it more than I'm not. And I really want to just reach out to people and say, like, make sure you are thinking about good deck building principles and make sure you're not thinking about the only thing you can do is just win. You know, like you got to think about it. If you're casual coming at it from one side, you have to ask questions and learn from the players who were winning to be able to start to get there. And if you're coming at it from the competitive side, ratchet it back a little bit and let the people who are newer to the game have a good time. You know what I mean? That's the goal here, is to have a good time. The goal is not simply to just
keep questing.